What? Who goes there? Come forth and identify yourself. Oh my, traveller, is it you that doth approach me so? Tell me, were you the one whistling just now? You were? Thank heavens. What's that? You detect a story behind my remarks. Ah, I can say I will have to try harder to fool you, good traveller. As it is, yes, I have a tale that involves whistling. Come, sit on this bench here, and I'll tell you the tale I call The Whistler. The inhabitants of the island of Sodor love to celebrate holidays and special events, such as Christmas, the Spring Festival, and the anniversary of the publishing of the very first book written by the Finn clergyman. In particular, the Engines love to celebrate Halloween. They enjoy seeing the stations, as well as the towns and villages, decorated with plastic skeletons and cardboard coffins. They love to watch the children go trick-or-treating, but the thing they love the most is to settle into their sheds and listen to a good axle-tingling ghost story. The Arlesdale Engines were settling down into their shed after a long day of work, eager to hear a good spooky tale.
Alright, gang, who's got a good ghost story to tell?
Ooh, I've got one.
Okay, Bert, go ahead.
A long time ago, a little engine was trying to make its way up.
Wait a sec. Is that the tale of the old iron bridge?
No? Maybe? Alright, fine. It is.
Honestly, it's no good telling a spooky story I've already heard, because then it stops being spooky.
Oh, and I suppose you could do better, Mike.
Ha! I could tell a better spooky story in my sleep.
Okay, go on then. Tell us one.
Well, the thing is, I could tell a story. I really could, it's just,
I've got a story you might like, and it's a true story at that.
Oh, Doc, I completely forgot you were there.
It's alright, Rex, I'm sorry I startled you.
So, what's your story, Duck?
Have you lot ever heard of The Whistler?
The who now?
No, I don't think we have. Who is he?
The Whistler was Sodor's most infamous serial killer. In 1962, he murdered no less than 20 women in a spree that crossed the island from Natford to Vickerstown.
Why do they call him the Whistler?
Because of the hauntingly predatory whistle he made while stalking his victims.
What did it sound like?
Well, the victim who survived said it was a slow and deep tune like this.
Gosh, this is chilling. Keep going, Doc.
The police did all they could to catch him, but he was cunning, always one step ahead. The papers had a field day. They even published a series of letters seemingly written by the Whistler sent to them and the police, always via the Morning Post.
Do you know what he looked like, Duck?
Ooh, descriptions varied. Some say he was 6 foot tall and built like a brick shed, whilst others say he was average height and quite skinny, but it was his distinctive wardrobe they could all agree on.
What was so distinctive about his outfit?
Well, nothing much really. You see, he wore average men's clothes, flat cap, beaten denim jacket, scruffy white shirt, working jeans and a heavy leather boots. However, the thing that was most distinctive was the mask he wore.
A mask?
What kind of mask, Duck? What kind?
An old gas mask from the war. One witness said that the cold and unemotional mask would haunt their dreams for as long as they lived.
Did they ever catch him, Duck?
Oh, they came close, but he always somehow evaded them. Some put it down to him having the luck of the devil.
Wait, you mean he could still be out there? Right now? And nobody could be any the wiser?
Well, Bert, that's up for you to decide.
well, Duck, I must say, that really is the most ridiculous amount of twaddle I've heard in my life.
Mike!
Shut up, you lot. I'm being serious. Duck, you honestly expect us to believe that Sodor had its own equivalent to Jack the Ripper, who consistently eluded highly trained detectives? Do me a favor.
Mike, I can't believe you. You should apologize to Duck right now.
Yeah, if anything, he gave us a decent story to listen to, regardless of whether you think it's true or not.
Alright, it was a good story, but I still find it hard to believe that Sodor, of all places, had its own serial killer. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm feeling rather tired and need my beauty rest. Good night.
And, before anyone could say anything, Mike promptly went to sleep. Rex and Bert also went to sleep, as they were much too annoyed with Mike's behaviour to listen or tell another story. The next morning, Mike left for work early. He laughed to himself as he thought about Duck's story.
What a silly story. As if someone would be silly enough to run around in an old gas mask, stabbing people.
All the same, you shouldn't have been so rude to Duck. And besides, I'm pretty sure I read about the Whistler in a book once. He didn't exactly sound like someone to mess with.
Psst, don't be such a wet blanket, Paul. Anyway, what's me criticizing a story going to do? You heard what Duck said. The guy operated back in '62. He's probably drawing his pension or pushing up the daisies by now.
Mike, you really shouldn't treat this so lightly. It's all true. You know, my grandfather showed me clippings of old newspapers. Some of the crime scene photos were so gruesome, I had nightmares for weeks.
Lighten up, Paul. I'm not saying the Whistler guy didn't exist. I'm just saying the idea of him wearing a gas mask while killing people and whistling sounds ridiculous. I mean, it's like some bad horror movie.
You know what they say, Mike. Every legend has a silver of truth in it.
Mike simply dismissed his driver's concerns and set about his work, running trains of passengers around the little railway and collecting shipments of ballast for the standard gauge engines to collect. He was just preparing to go home when the foreman hailed his driver from the office.
Just a minute, Paul. I need you to go over some wage slips with me. I think I might have found a few discrepancies with them, but I want to be sure.
Oh, damn! And Lizzie will have put my dinner in the oven by now. Her world's famous cottage pie, too.
I know, but it's got to be done. Tell you what, you can call her from the office and tell her you'll be home late.
Alright, then. Shan't be long, Mike.
I should hope not. I don't exactly plan on sleeping in the ballast mine tonight. Most undignified.
Paul just sighed and ignored Mike as he climbed out of the cab and crossed the tracks towards the office. Mike shut his eyes, deciding he might as well have a short nap whilst he waited. However, he hadn't been asleep long when a low whistle cut through the night air.
Hello? Is someone there?
Nobody responded, so Mike assumed he imagined it and shut his eyes. He just started to nod off when he heard the whistle again, except this time it was coming from his left.
Okay, seriously, who is that? I've been working all day and I'm feeling tired. So I'd like to get some sleep, okay?
Again, there was no response. Mike humphed and screwed his eyes tightly shut, demanding himself to sleep, but it was no good. He was too angry to sleep now, and he decided to vent his frustration.
Well, that's just peachy. I can't sleep at all now. Thanks a lot. Mysterious whistling prankster. Thanks a lot.
Another whistle came as a response, and Mike lost patience. If he couldn't sleep, he was going to give this joker a piece of his mind.
Alright, cut it with the whistling. Come out where I can see you, because if I'm going to tear you off a strip, I might as well say it to your face.
There was a brief silence, and then a figure stepped out into the open, just out of the reach of a beam of light cast by one of the yard's lamps. Mike scowled as he noticed the figure appeared to be dressed in a flat cap, a beaten denim jacket, a scruffy white shirt, working jeans and heavy leather boots. But what Mike took into particular notice was the old World War gas mask the figure was wearing. There was no debating it. It was an exact replica of the attire worn by the Whistler.
Oh, for Audrey and Alcroft's sake. A prank? You decided to disturb my sleep for a stupid prank? Well, I can laugh too. Now, who put you up to it? Rex and Jock are too mature. Although, if it meant teaching me a lesson, they wouldn't be exempt from this. But my money's more on Bert. He's a little less mature, and I don't doubt Duck has a piston in this somewhere. I mean, he did tell the story.
The figure gave no response. It just continued to stare at Mike, the mask on its face making its heavy breathing echo around the yard. As Mike watched, the figure drew a large serrated knife, quite in the style of a Bowie knife, and took a step forward. Mike sniggered and cooed.
Aw, cute prop. Very menacing. Say, is that an actual pearl on the grip? Very suave. Must have cost a bit. Oh, wait. Is this the part where I'm supposed to start screaming like a pansy and begging for my life? Well, if Rex and the others have gone to the effort, I suppose I should oblige. Oh no, it's the Whistler! Whatever should I do? Help someone! Call the police, the Whistler's going to stab me.
The figure took another step forward when the door to the office suddenly slammed shut and Paul came striding towards Mike.
Mike? Who are you talking to?
Just this joker who decided to dress up as that Whistler character Duck was spouting about. It's really a very good costume, see for yourself.
Mike? There's no one there.
Well, duh. Of course there isn't. As soon as he saw you coming, he must have realized what a tool he looked and scarpered.
If you say so, Mike. Come on, let's get home.
Paul climbed aboard, opened the regulator, and Mike steamed out of the yard. Back at Arlesdale West, he found Rex and Bert chatting to Duck, Oliver, and Toad.
Ah, Mike, we were just wondering what happened to you.
Oh, like you don't know.
Come again?
Yeah, I can see it all now. There was nothing wrong with those weight slips. The foreman just made that up, so I'd be forced to stay up at the mine so you guys can play your silly little joke on me.
Mike, with the greatest of respect, we have absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
I'm talking about getting someone to dress up as that Whistler bloke and scare me. Not gonna lie, you guys did a good number on the costume. I was even impressed with the serrated knife with a pearl grip. I bet that really wasn't cheap too. Why are you staring at me like that?
Mike, the exact details of the knife utilised by the Whistler were never published. The police kept that information secret so as to avoid copycat killers.
Besides, real pearl. Do you have any idea how expensive that is? There's no way we could get something like that on our railwaysman's salary.
But wait. If the details of the knife were never published, how come you know them, Duck? I could be saying the knife was purple with yellow polka dots and you'd only have my word for it unless you knew exactly what it looked like.
Mike, the reason I know so much about the Whistler is because my guard's father-in-law was a detective constable on the task force set up to capture the Whistler. Besides what was written in his official reports and not classified, most information on the Whistler is all rumour and exaggerated tales told by drunken folk in pubs.
But it must be a prank. It has to be. There's no way. No possible way that I met, spoke to, even taunted the actual killer. It has to be.
No one can truly say with the strictest of confidence what Mike saw that night. Mike desperately continues to convince himself that what he saw was a member of one of his fellow Engines crews disguised as the Whistler as part of an infantile prank conceived by Rex, Bert and Duck at his expense. Rex and Bert worry that Duck may be wrong, that there is more information on the Whistler available in the public domain than the Great Westerner is aware of, and what Mike saw was a deranged and highly disturbed individual who, for reasons known only to them, has decided to take up the mantle and guise of the serial killer. But Duck is convinced that Mike's taunting and ridicule was strong enough to anger the spirit of the killer, who manifested itself in an act of revenge. Whatever it was, Mike is always cautious whenever he is out late and constantly listens for that one particular whistle. And now you can see, traveller, why I was put so on edge by your whistling. Yes, my dear friend, I know you did not intend to cause me distress, and I wish you to put yourself at ease. Just exercise more caution around me, should you wish to engage in merry and jocular whistling in future, eh? Ah, the clock doth toll the hour, and summons me back to my work. Godspeed on your journey, my dear traveller, and exercise caution at all times, especially if you should hear someone following, whistling as they do.